Remember when a vacation meant just following a tour guide's little flag and flipping through a dusty guidebook? Well, those days are pretty much over. We're in the middle of this huge shift in how we explore the world. We're moving away from just passively looking at things to actually jumping into these active digital quests. Every trip is becoming its own adventure. So how exactly is your vacation turning into a video game? Let's dive in and find out.
And this, right here, is the core of it all. The old way? You were just a spectator, right? Another face in the crowd. But this new, gamified quest, it literally makes you the hero of your own story. It's a massive shift from just looking at stuff to actually getting your hands dirty, Real, active participation. So what's driving this whole thing? Well, honestly, it's us. Our expectations have just skyrocketed. I love this quote from Paul Balenza. He's a co-author of a book on this topic. He said that modern travelers expect that, quote, when they enter their hotel room and open the wardrobe, they would expect to step into Narnia. And isn't that just perfect? We don't just want a room with a view anymore. We want to step right through that wardrobe into a whole other world. It's all about the experience now.
All right, so how are places actually pulling off these Narnia-level experiences? Well, think of it like they're giving the real world a power-up. Let's get into what gamified tourism actually means and check out all the different, really cool forms it can take.
Okay, so here's the basic idea. You take all the stuff that makes video games so addictive, right? Things like earning points, unlocking achievements, getting cool rewards, and you just overlay all of that onto the real world when you're traveling. The whole point is to make you connect with a place on a deeper level and honestly just make exploring a lot more fun. And this can take so many different shapes. One day you could be on an AR scavenger hunt through ancient ruins, and the next you're solving puzzles tied to city landmarks, or maybe collecting digital badges for hitting up different neighborhoods. And the best part, it's all powered by that little device that's already sitting in your pocket, your phone.
Okay, let's look at a real-world example, because this is cool. In Geneva, a museum visit isn't just about staring at old broken stuff behind glass anymore. No way. Now you can actually whip out your phone, point it at a fractured statue, and digitally put it back together yourself. It makes you feel like you're some kind of archaeologist, unlocking history's secrets. It completely flips the script from just looking to actually doing. And this whole concept isn't exactly brand new. Remember Foursquare? Way back in 2009? Just by checking into a place enough times, you could become the mayor. It was such a simple, brilliant idea, just a little leaderboard that sparked this fun competition and made you want to keep going back. It turned your local coffee shop into this territory you had to conquer.
But of course, the absolute game changer was Pokemon Go. Who could forget that? Get this. In the UK, they partnered with a Heritage Foundation for this 2-day event. They put Pokestops at all these culturally important sites, and the result was just wow. 16,000 people went out exploring the city, and an incredible 80% of them said they actually learned something new about its history. That just shows you the massive scale and the amazing educational power these games can have. Okay, so we've seen what it is, we've seen it in action, but the big question is, why does it work so well? What is it about turning travel into a game that just hooks our brains? Well, it turns out the answer gets down to some really basic psychological needs that we all have. The key to understanding this is something called self-determination theory. Now, I know that sounds super academic, but it's actually a really simple idea. It basically says that we're most motivated to do things just for the fun of it when 3 basic psychological needs are met. And when an activity checks all 3 of those boxes, we're all in. We get totally engaged.
So it all works in this really simple but powerful loop. It starts with the game stuff, the points, the badges, the challenges. Those things tap directly into our psychological needs, and that's what creates real engagement. And once you're engaged like that, well, that's what builds loyalty. For the destinations, that loyalty is gold. It means you'll come back, you'll spend more money, and you'll tell all your friends about it. It's a win-win.
So what are these 3 magic needs? Okay, first up is competence. That's that awesome feeling you get when you finally solve a puzzle or earn a new badge. You feel smart, you feel like you accomplished something. Second, we have autonomy. This is all about being in control, having the freedom to choose your own quest, to go where you want to go. And number 3 is relatedness. That's our need to connect with other people, like when you're competing with your friends on a leaderboard or showing off your achievements. So how do designers actually build these things? Well, it's not random. It's a whole system. Think of it like a recipe. They start with the main ingredients, the activities like quests or challenges. Then they add the seasoning, the rewards, your points and badges. And finally, they wrap the whole thing up in a really compelling story or context. When you put it all together, you get a system that hits all three of those psychological sweet spots.
But, okay, it can't all be perfect, right? It's not all fun and games. This is an incredibly powerful tool, which means it's kind of a double-edged sword. We have to start asking the tough questions. Are these quests really about genuine discovery, or are we just being led through a super clever new kind of advertisement?
And this is where we see the two sides of the coin. On the one hand, the promise is incredible. You can use these games to guide people to amazing cultural sites and create real connections, just like that event in Chester. But on the other hand, there's the danger. Businesses can just pay to become a hotspot in the game, and suddenly they're turning players into customers, maybe without the players even knowing what's happening.
And hey, this isn't just some what-if scenario. This actually happened. Not long after Pokemon Go exploded, it came out that huge corporations were paying to put Pokestops and gyms right inside their stores. And yeah, we're talking about the big guys. McDonald's, KFC, Starbucks, all of them using the game as a lure to get you to walk right through their door.
So this raises a huge question about authenticity, right? I mean, when the app on your phone is being secretly guided by commercial deals, are you really exploring? Are you having one of those organic, get lost and find something amazing travel moments? Or is your adventure just a carefully planned walk through a digital theme park designed to guide you from one cash register to the next?
But even with these big questions hanging in the air, this technology is not hitting the brakes. In fact, it's flooring it. It's getting way smarter, way more personal, and it's absolutely shaping the future of how we're all going to explore the world.
So, what's next? The next big leap is bringing in generative AI. This means the games and stories won't be pre-programmed anymore. They'll be alive. Just imagine this. You've got an AR historical guide who can literally create new dialogue on the fly, a quest that changes based on your choices, what you're interested in, even where you're standing, all happening in real time. It means that every single person could have a completely unique, one-of-a-kind adventure.
And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. As this tech gets woven more and more seamlessly into our travels, we have to ask about the trade-offs. You know, when every destination is a game to be won, when it's all about points and leaderboards, what happens to just wandering? What happens to the simple joy of getting lost and discovering something by accident? That's a question we're all going to have to answer for ourselves on our next trip.